Joshua Smith here, and welcome to the GSD Mode podcast. Now get shit done and smash that subscribe button now. What is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here at GSD Mode Studios with another weekly leveling up episode. And today I'm here today, guys, to share with you how to eliminate negative self-talk and the high importance of this and being able to control that inner voice that is constantly chattering inside our heads. Look, the reality is, you guys, you cannot control the first thought you always have. We have 60,000 thoughts on average on a daily basis that's entering our mind. So we can't control always that first thought, but we absolutely can control a second thought and how we react to the thoughts and those voices that we have and that negative chatter that is taking place in our minds. So we're going to go in depth on this today and break this down. Now, real quick, if you are a real estate agent, team leader, or a broker owner, and you are looking to grow and scale massively your real estate business, make sure to check out masterybootcamp.com, which is my personal coaching and mentorship program. This is a year-long program. Again, check out masterybootcamp.com where you can learn more about the program, see testimonials from other real estate agents, team leaders, and broker owners that have been through the program, that their business has been massively impacted. And again, check out that program for yourself, masterybootcamp.com. Lastly, if you are looking for the most effective and affordable real estate website CRM provider in the real estate industry, make sure to check out perfectstormnow.com. This is the system that I have, that I utilize, that allows my team to be one of the top teams in the entire country. So again, check out perfectstormnow.com. I highly recommend it. All right, now let's jump into the content at hand. So again, you guys, we are here today to talk about negative self-talk, understanding it, understanding the negative implications of it, and how to pivot that negative self-talk into positive self-talk, but even more importantly, how to navigate that into an executable plan to go out there and get the results that you want to take. And as I said just a moment ago, we have 60,000 thoughts that are entering our mind every single day. And unfortunately, a lot of those are negative. We can't always control that. However, we can fully control how we respond to it. Now, you got to start having awareness of this, though. You have to, when I say awareness, we have to be able to have thoughts about our thoughts. You got to be aware of all that chatter that's taking place, right? And let me just share a couple statistics with you guys. I learned these statistics from a gentleman named Trevor Moawad. He's the author of a great book that I highly recommend called It Takes What It Takes. So Trevor Moawad is like the number one peak performance coach in the professional sports arena. You know, he coaches clients like Russell Wilson and so forth. And his job is to control their mind, to keep them in the right mental space to be able to perform on the field or on the court this is the best version of themselves. So this is a guy that's committed decades and decades and decades of his life. His father was also kind of one of the founders in the kind of motivational, positive thinking, self-development space. So this is a dude that's been trained and conditioned his whole life for this work that he's doing, and he works with the most elite performers in the professional sports world. And some stats he talks about in his book. So negative talk is anywhere between, negative internal self-talk is anywhere between 4 to 7 times more powerful than a positive thought. And when I say powerful, this is powerful in a detrimental way. You know, just like if you think about it, maybe you have a negative experience out shopping or whatever. And this is a consumer statistic that a person that has a negative experience will share that negative experience with 10 people. However, if that same consumer has a positive experience, they usually only share it with one, right? And we're just conditioned as a society, and this is just, it is what it is, right? We're negativity sells. We talk about negative things much more often and so forth. So your average negative thought is 4 to 7 times more powerful in a detrimental fashion than a positive thought. Then when you speak that negative thought out loud, it can become over 40 times more powerful than a positive thought. And again, when I say powerful, this is in a negative, detrimental way. So we have to be very careful of this. And again, when you have 60,000 thoughts that are entering your mind every single day, we can't always control if it's going to be a negative thought. Look, we all have times of self-doubt that enter our lives. But you got to understand that self-doubt, self-confidence, whatever you want to look at that, self-doubt is the opposite of self-confidence. Our self-confidence is our 100% our responsibility. It's all internal work that we must do. It's nobody else's job other than ours. So we have to own it. We have to take responsibility of that and understand that it's extremely, extremely important. So then from there, this is our job, because there's no shortage of outside, people. And if we're looking for this from an outer, if we're looking for self-confidence to come from outer sources, look, there's no shortage of people that exists that are gonna, not are trying to tear you down, if you will, right? It's gonna happen. We can't rely on our spouses. We can't rely on friends. We can't rely on others to try to build us up. You got to become, as Brian Tracy says, man, you got to become your greatest personal cheerleader. You've got to pump yourself up. You've got to inflate yourself. This is internal work that only you can do. Your self-confidence, your self-worth, the opposite of self-doubt, whatever you want to call that, is work that must come from within and is your 100% responsibility. You got to own it, and this is your job. So in order to combat negative thinking, we got to know what negative thinking is, which I think we all understand what negative thinking is. Negative thinking a lot of times comes from that self-doubt, that kind of that fixed mindset, right? Which I'll break down here just in a little bit more in detail. But then we got to also understand the power of a positive thought, but then also what is called neutral thinking. And again, that term neutral thinking I got from Trevor Moawad in his book, It Takes What It Takes. But neutral thinking is really just being a realist, right? You got the pessimist, you got the optimist, or you got the optimist, the pessimist, and then you got the realist, right? The analogy there is, the optimist is arguing that the glass is half full, the pessimist is arguing that the glass is half empty, and the realist just drank the damn glass of water while the pessimist and the optimist were arguing, right? So, we got to understand how to utilize each of these when it comes to this. So every time that you have a negative thought, well, let me first step back, right? So I'm getting ahead of myself here. First, you got to understand that in order to create success in any aspect of our lives, we have to operate from a growth mindset. And if you have kids, or, if you're younger and you're in school, you hear a lot of schools and a lot of teachers and talking about a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. And here's the big difference, right? A fixed mindset is, and this is somebody that operates from, limiting beliefs and so forth. I'll just give an example of a fixed mindset person might just be like, hey, I'm bad at math. I suck at math. I've always been that way, right? And just believes it. They believe that self-doubt. They believe that negative thought. And you got to be really careful with this. You guys, the stories that you choose to believe, and these are just a story. This is just a negative. This isn't the truth, right? But the stories that you choose to believe and that you choose to attach to very quickly become beliefs. And then beliefs very quickly become facts that we end up operating our life by. So you got to really go out there and be able to navigate your own story, right? Navigate your own narrative, however you want to frame that. Fixed mindset is, I'm just bad at math. I suck at math. It's just how it is. It's how it's going to always be. Where a growth mindset might say something more like this. Yes, I suck at math right now. However, if I'm committed to learning math and becoming great at math, I might suck right now, but I know if I put in the work that I could become great at it. Might take some work, right? Might take some focus, might take some time, but I'm confident if I work at it and never give up, I can become great at math, right? So we got to be very careful to not attach to these labels and attach to these stories. It's so easy for us to be like, oh man, I'm not good at social media. Social media is not my thing, or I'm not good at this. I'm not good at this. Whatever. If you want to choose to attach to that and believe it to be true, it's going to come true. However, you can be great at anything that you put your mind to, as long as you're willing to put the commitment, time, energy, and focus into that. So so understanding that it all starts with operating from that place of a growth mindset. Hey man, maybe I suck at social media right now. Right? Well, we all suck at things that we're new at, right? So it might be like, oh, I suck at social media right now. However, I know if I commit to learning it, if I commit to the time to learning it and mastering it and doing it, I can become great at it, right? It's always having that deep understanding of that. So you got to operate from that growth mindset and truly believe and know and understand that anything is possible if you put the time, energy, and commitment into it, right? Then from there, as these negative thoughts enter your mind, have that awareness of it. We all have those self-doubt, things that come in. As an example, I was just meeting with my business partners inside the brokerage, and I'm like, look, man, and we share the same vision. So it was just kind of a vision meeting, if you will, of look, man, let's take this thing national, eventually global, and go out there and create this massive global real estate brokerage where we can contend with the other juggernauts in our space. Now, none of us have ever created a global brokerage before, and it's easy for that self-doubt to come in. Oh man, I'm not Gary Keller, I'm not Dave Liniger, I've never done this, I don't know if I'm capable, or so forth. Right? So I'm going to have that awareness of that. Right? Then from there, once I have a negative thought, and I caught myself going there for just having those negative thoughts come into my mind. Right? Well, I had to switch that negative thought from a positive thought. Right? Okay, hey, man, again, that growth mindset where, hey, this is a new territory, new things can be scary, but man, if we're committed, we can figure this thing out. Right? So switch that negative thought into a positive thought of again, if you catch yourself with that self-doubt, I'm not capable, I'm not good at this, right? Have that awareness of it and immediately switch that into a positive thought. Oh, no, I can be good at this. Right? And what I like to do, and this is, I know I'm kind of name dropping some different books here and different authors out there, but a book that I found to be very powerful was David Goggins' Can't Hurt Me. Love the book, highly recommend it. It's a great book around mindset and just, perception and how to the lens to operate life by. An awesome book. But in there, he talks about, dipping into the cookie jar, reaching into the cookie jar. Yeah, right? Like the cookie jar when we were kids that maybe your parents had or so forth. Now, he talks about in that cookie jar, though. So these are the times where he has self-doubt entering his mind. Like as he's going through Hell Week through the Navy SEALs, or as he's, running these ultra marathons, these 150-mile races, these extreme races that he's competing in and so forth. Right? Anytime that he finds his mind going into that dark place, right, where he's like, oh, I can't finish this, I can't compete this, I'm not possible, I'm not capable, I can't do this. When he talks about reaching into the cookie jar, right, inside that cookie jar, these are the parts of his life where he won on a massive level, right? So start. What I recommend that you guys do is write out a list of all the things that you've done in your life that have been exceptional, right? Where anytime that you've experienced adversity, look, we've all survived. If you're watching this, you've survived every terrible bad day. Every worst day that you've had up to this point in your life, you've survived it. I'm sure that you've overcome a lot of adversity. So I'm going to start making a list of all the things that I've overcome in my life. So for me, it might be like, look, I overcame being extremely poor, extremely broke, and to making some money. Right? I overcame obesity. I overcame an addiction to alcohol. I overcame addiction to other substances. Right? So just start listing all that stuff out. Right? Like overcame a fear of being a new parent and raised some epic, awesome kids, built this business, did this, right? Maybe it's even specific to, and you can go deep into your childhood, deep into times when you're in school, athletics, right? Don't just make it about recent years, but for me, it's like, look, at one point I lost everything and got into $100,000 of credit card debt. Well, I was able to climb out of that hole and not just climb out, but then gain more net worth by the lessons learned through that experience than I previously had, right? So those are all those things I'm going to put in that cookie jar, right? So then when I have that self-doubt, that negative thought, as needed, I can access that cookie jar, right? So then it's not just necessarily a positive thought of, oh, I am capable, I can do anything, whatever. Now I have real situations that I can go to. Well, look, man, I overcame this. I did this. I've, right? And now I'm able to showcase and really sell my mind on all the areas that I've won, the areas that I've overcome adversity and so forth. So I get my mind now convinced and fully believing that, I can go out there and accomplish this thing and remove that self-doubt, right? So anytime, again, that negative thought hits, I'm going to combat that instantaneously, immediately, as soon as I have awareness of it with that positive thought. Then from there, I'm going to transition into neutral thinking. And this is why this is really important, you guys. Like I love the movie The Secret, the documentary The Secret, but I also can't stand the movie and documentary The Secret. And the reason why, I love it because I believe in the law of attraction. I believe in manifestation. All the message that they push out in that documentary, I believe all of that. But the missing component of that documentary is about action. Look, we got to get into action. I can manifest and have positive thoughts all day long and be like, oh, I'm in great shape. I'm going to get into great shape. I'm disciplined. I'm, right? Manifest all day long about and visualize about the shape that I'm in and tell myself I'm going to get in great shape. But if I'm not taking action, if I'm not going to the gym, if I'm not doing the activities, if I'm not eating, the foods, and I continue to just sit my ass on the couch and eat donuts and so forth, man, I don't care how hard I manifest on that. It's not going to come true, right? I want to visualize it, manifest, but also back that with the right action. And this is where neutral thinking comes into place. So once I've combated that negative talk, that self-doubt with that positive talk, right? And also then accessed ways that I've achieved success in my past and I've overcome adversity. Now I believe that I'm capable. I believe that I'm possible. And as the great Oprah says, right, one of the most important key ingredients to success is you must believe that you are possible. If you have big goals that you've created for yourself or for this year or whatever, like you got to believe that you're capable of creating those goals, right? But again, that's still not enough. Now, when we go into neutral thinking, this is like the realist. Remember, like negative thinking is the pessimist, positive thinking is the optimist. Then you have the realist. The realist now, the neutral thinking, the realist, however you want to label that, is where we go into a plan of action. Okay, what are the steps? What must I start doing to take action on this thing to get the result that I want to get? What's the outcome that I want? And where's the first place to start? What are the next things that I can start doing? Right, I'm going to start mapping out a plan of action to make that thing a reality that I want to go out there and create. However big, however small it is, right? I'm going to create a game plan of an action that now puts me into action. So I go from negative thought, meaning self-doubt, to a positive thought, which is self-confidence, right? Then now I'm going to go into action with that neutral think, right? With that plan. So now I can start executing on the things that I want to execute to go out there and create the results that I want to create. So again, you guys, have awareness of your thoughts. Intentionally combat those negative thoughts with a positive thought, and then go into, again, neutral thinking, which allows you to create that plan. And again, now that you got that belief, it's possible, man. That's the best time to start taking action. Because here's the cool thing. Nothing breeds motivation like more action. Right? I can't tell you how many projects and things that I didn't want to take on, whatever, but I finally got my ass moving on those things. And then boom, once I start taking action, then you get in the zone, man. Then it's like, boom, it just starts to compound and compound and compound. And nothing breeds motivation like action, right? It just becomes this huge compounding thing, which becomes really, really powerful. So this is how I have found to personally combat negative thoughts that we all have, right? But there is a system and a process that you can adopt, which I just broke down through you, which is what I personally do. And I've learned this through, lots of study and lots of research on this through mentors and books and coaches and whatever. And this is what works very effectively for me to keep me in a confident state, right? And to keep my mind right, not allow the negative thoughts, aka self-doubt, to get to me, and keeps me in the right mindset and keeps me taking action and moving forward. So anyway, I hope that you guys found this helpful. Thank you so much for watching, all your support. Keep up the amazing work. Keep kicking ass and go out there and dominate. Peace. I hope you enjoyed this GSD Mode podcast episode. Now make sure you get shit done and smash that subscribe button now.